Why were Luke and Leia split up? And why, of all planets in the galaxy, did Obi-Wan and Yoda agree to take Luke to Tatooine? At the end of Revenge of the Sith, the two Jedi Masters agree without any debate that this is where Luke should be hidden until the time is right for him to be trained. It makes sense that they would want Luke to grow up with the only family he has at this point. Although they're not actually related by blood, this is the closest thing Luke has to family outside of Leia and Vader. But there was more that went into this decision than just family ties. There is actually a second reason that makes Tatooine the most ideal location to hide a child of Anakin Skywalker. The main objective is obviously to keep Luke and Leia alive. Although it may seem odd to send Leia off with a high-profile family who also had no experience with the Force, this was actually the perfect cover. It was pretty common knowledge that Bail Organa and his wife were struggling to have a child. In the movie, he tells Yoda and Kenobi that he and his wife had always talked of adopting a girl. So, Leia's sudden appearance among the royal family would be highly unlikely to raise any red flags for Palpatine or Vader, especially since they're both completely unaware of her and Luke's existence. As far as they know, the children both died with their mother, so it's not like the Empire is out looking for Vader's children. This decision also sets the stage for the Jedi's return, because it puts a powerful Jedi-to-be in a place of great power. And since she will not be trained in her youth, it'll be next to impossible to detect her presence. But as she continues to ascend the political ranks, and the time for her to be trained finally comes, Leia will learn the truth about her family, and be trained to join Luke and respawn the new generation of Jedi. This was actually a genius plan by the Jedi, and splitting Luke and Leia up makes it even better, because if one of them were ever to be discovered, the other would remain alive since both their sibling and their father are completely unaware of their existence. But now back to Luke. Tatooine is the home world of Anakin Skywalker. It's the place where he was enslaved by Watto, and where he returned to witness his mother's death. It's where the molding of Anakin Skywalker into Darth Vader began. The planet held memories of great pain and fear for Vader, as well as thoughts of his mother. His mother, who had been taken from him before he even reached 10 years old, who Qui-Gon Jinn, the Jedi Master, didn't save. Surely a man of his power and intelligence could have saved them both if he really wanted to. He could have. He should have. But he didn't. All this planet ever brought Anakin was suffering. He hated it to the point where he refused to ever go back. But not just for the agony it would bring him, also for the memory of his mother and her son, the young innocent boy who was suddenly thrust into an impossible situation. If Vader returned to Tatooine, he would be forced to remember Anakin Skywalker, a person who he claims to have destroyed. He told himself that Anakin was weak, that Vader was a different man. But there was that chance that setting foot on that planet would reawaken Anakin. Because no matter how deep Vader buried his past, he knew that somewhere inside him, deep, deep down, that young boy from Tatooine still lived. It was for that reason most of all that Vader would never go back, and Yoda knew it. As for the Emperor, well, it's like I said, he didn't know Luke was out there. And even if he did, a barren desert world like Tatooine would be the last place he'd think to look. So Yoda and Obi-Wan go into exile. Bail Organa took Leia to raise her as a princess. Obi-Wan went with Luke to watch over him and protect him in the event that he was somehow discovered. And Yoda chose Dagobah, for reasons I would like to discuss in another video. Training Luke and Leia when they were children would have been very risky. It was smarter to wait until they were older and could fend for themselves. They needed to wait until the children had matured enough to understand what their power really meant. Not just for the Jedi Order, but for the galaxy as a whole. If they didn't survive, all would be lost. Also, Uncle Owen essentially hated Obi-Wan and actually blamed him for Anakin's death, so he may have delayed Luke's training even more. But nonetheless, the identity of Luke and Leia was successfully concealed until the time was right for the Jedi to re-emerge. And without the foresight of Yoda and Obi-Wan, this probably would not have happened. Tatooine was the perfect place to hide Luke, and their recognition of this fact was crucial. So let me know what you guys thought about this topic, and if you think Luke and Leia would have survived had they been sent somewhere else. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like to support the channel, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you always.